Hey everyone, this is Alvaro Cortez Jr., also known as Lance Danger. I'm just doing a bit of a random live stream as I do here. As you all know, I really don't announce these things, I just happen to do them. I hope the audio is well, and if anyone's listening, then just let me know if the audio is off so I can try a different mic or something because I know that the last time I tried to live stream from this area in particular, it didn't go too well, the audio. So if anyone's listening, just scream at me in the chat or something and I'll figure that out. In the meantime, it is spooky season officially. We are in October. It's fun. It's my favorite time of the year. This is my Christmas season right now, as you can see by the shirt. It's spooky season. Finally, the weather is a lot cooler over here in New York now. It's dropping down to the 70s and 60s. It's my preferred weather, to be honest. You know, it was the weather I was raised in when I was living in Puerto Rico. Oh man, just remembering it, I get all sweaty of how warm the winters and the fall is down there. So I know to like the average Puerto Rican, it feels cold anyway if it dips down to like 70 or something. But I'm somewhat of a polar bear, I guess, in that sense. I really prefer the cold. So, yeah, welcome spoopy season and welcome everyone that's listening. I just want to talk a little bit about Inktober and this project that I'm doing right now called The Road to Hell, which is just like a video series that I'm going to do in the same vein of the 100 Days of Making Comics videos I used to make. Except I'm going to concentrate more on this horror comic that I've been meaning to do for a couple of years now called Hell Beneath You. I actually have like almost a week worth of episode because contrary to uploading one episode every day, I'm just going to record throughout the week and then I'm going to upload one episode going over what I went through during that week instead. And that way I don't have to put so much pressure on myself to post every day. That way I don't have to put so much pressure on myself to do too much editing while I'm working on other things like my comics and writing and other stuff, regular life stuff. A lot of stuff has been happening behind the scenes the last couple of months. It's been very draining and very emotional. But hopefully, you know, these things happen and sometimes you come out stronger afterwards. And that's what I'm hoping for right now, to be honest. I don't get too personal about things that happen in my life, but maybe throughout the year I'll talk about it. So anyway, let's talk about Inktober. This year I'm trying to my hand on Inktober again, but this time I'm dedicating it to indie creations, whether that be things that I've grew up with, like The Crow, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and stuff like that, and other newer stuff from Puerto Rican colleagues as well, like Omega, Guaybana, Adrenalina, and some of the OG Puerto Rican local scene stuff like Alafta. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I already uploaded today's piece, which is The Crow. Let me just go ahead and try and share that real quick. And here we go. Here is The Crow. This is the first piece I made for Inktober, Indietober as I call it as well. There he is, playing some savory licks, as the Crow is known to do. This was actually very fun to do because that's something I really wanted to do also. Just have a lot of fun with Inktober and hopefully it'll get the rust out of me from not drawing consistently almost this entire year now. There's been just things happening one after the other that has just been crazy. And especially with my arm injury, I was actually supposed to go yesterday to my doctor to get this looked over and get the prescription again for my physical therapy. I had one, but it got misplaced during the move. So I just need to get another one again and like check some stuff out. And actually, we had to reschedule because the doctor had an emergency. It's like, oh shit. So now that's pushed back to next week. Hopefully, it'll all be fine and I'll be able to work on my shoulder and everything. Thankfully, when I did this piece of The Crow, it didn't bother me as much as before. But at the same time, I'm very heavy handed. I really am. Like, that's something that teachers always found fascinating that my hand is so heavy when I'm writing or drawing. It's like some people say I'm murdering that paper when I'm putting my pencil or pen to paper. So I was very self cautious of that, very self aware on this illustration. So I tried to not put as much pressure on it, just so my bicep. For those that don't know, I have a tendon that's um, torn, the tendon that connects the shoulder to my bicep. Um, we're going to try physical therapy first to see if that helps. Worst case scenario, I'm going to need a surgery there, which I don't know how long. Honestly, would put me on the shelf because I'm not considering surgery right now. Like when they gave me the two options, I immediately said physical therapy. But since then, I've been doing a lot of things that I'm really not supposed to, especially because of the move. But hopefully, things will be well soon enough. Hopefully, I'll be able to be back to normal and be posting the comic book of Warlord, working on Hill Beneath You as well. And of course, continuing doing the um, Indie-tober, as I call it, which is just basically me doing this Inktober, but with independent comic book characters. Just going to close that up real quick. And for those of you that are curious about the list of the characters that I'm going to be doing on Indie-tober, I did share yesterday the list that I'm going to be doing of characters. And my friend and colleague and brother, Manuel Carmona, is actually going to do the same ones as well. We actually discussed this. I told him like a couple of weeks ago, hey, I have this idea. Instead of doing Inktober, I'm going to do Indie-tober, which is just Inktober, but with, my favorite in the comic book characters. And he fell in love with the idea. He wanted to jump in also. He said to make a list, and I assumed he was talking to me to make my list of favorite indie characters, and that he was going to do his own list afterwards. But as it turned out, the list that I made is the one that he's doing as well. So I was like, oops, I guess I told him like maybe next year he can do the list his own list, and I'll do it based on what he picked, just to be even, because I really picked things specifically that I enjoy. Though we both have similar tastes, so he also appreciates the challenge that a lot of things that he doesn't really know about, like Wandering Star and 30 Days of Night and whatnot, that he's going to go ahead and do it also as part of the challenge. So that's cool as well. So I'm just going to go over the list real quick. I am going to be working on The Crow, which already went up. You can see it on my Facebook, art Facebook. That is Serene Chaos, the Art of Lance Danger. You can also see it on my Instagram and my Twitter as well. And Bubble House, which is a app kind of like Instagram. It's an art app. It's kind of cool. I'm giving it a shot. It's relatively new. I found it through a artist that I follow on YouTube. Her name is Mew Tripled. She's an animation student, or rather, she was an animation student. Like now, she's like working on Netflix shows and animation shows and whatnot. And I enjoy her content. I enjoy her artwork. And she mentioned that there's this new app called Bubble House for artwork that's kind of like Instagram. So I went ahead and joined it too, just to see how it's like. I'm also probably going to upload it to TikTok as well. I've been having more fun on TikTok than I ever would have imagined I was going to. It's really fun. It's a great community once you get in there as well. I've actually bought a couple of things off of independent authors at TikTok, and surprisingly enough, like even though it hasn't been huge, I actually gotten some sales because of TikTok, and the sites on my personal website, The Art of Alvaro, has been going up the views as well. Ever since I started to talk more about my projects and such on TikTok, which is pretty cool. I'm really liking the vibe so far of TikTok, so I'll probably be doing a little bit more stuff there as well, compared to like Instagram and whatnot. And I'm actually trying to export the video of that illustration of the crow that I made, because I actually recorded myself doing the illustration so I can do a time lapse. So I'll be uploading that to YouTube as well. Likely, I'll be uploading it to Instagram and TikTok too. Like, I don't know if I'm going to do it for every illustration for Inktober, but I'm going to try to do as much as I can at least. Actually, my throat is getting a little bit dry. Give me one brief second. I'm just gonna get something to drink. I just realized I didn't have anything around me to drink. I'll be right back. Alrighty there. Cheers, guys. It is October. It is officially spooky season, and I would like to make a toast to everyone that enjoys ghouls and goblins and the creepy creatures that go bump in the night. This is for you. Oh, the children of the night, what beautiful music they make. All right, with that aside, I would just like to go over the list real quick of what I'm going to be drawing for Inktober, aka Indietober. I did the crow, as you already saw. I showed earlier the crow. I'm going to be drawing Omega, the character by J.L. Aviles. That is his comic that he created. Usagi Yojimbo, that is a classic character. Loved it. Of course, I was introduced to it by the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. On the fourth day, that's going to be the boy, also known as number 5 from Umbrella Academy. I have to admit, I like that character. I probably like the comic book version a little more than the live action. Actually, I like the Umbrella Academy overall, the comic book, compared to the live action version. I don't know how they're going to do season 3, to be honest. I am kind of curious, I guess. I don't know if they're going to really do like Hotel Oblivion, but no, I actually haven't seen season two just yet. So hopefully I'll see season two soon. I'll probably start tonight or something. On the fifth day of October, it's going to be Raphael from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, my favorite turtle. I always say I'm Raphael, but my friends say I'm more of a Donatello. So I don't know. On the sixth day, I'm going to do Cassandra, the main character of Wandering Star. I've spoken about Wandering Star before. One of the first indie comics that made me want to make indie comics. Fantastic, yes, story all around by Terry Wood. Cassandra is the main character. She's the first human to be in that galactic space force in that universe, and she encounters a lot of things that are surprisingly still relevant to this day. But it is what it is. On the seventh day, it is The Mask. I love The Mask. I was introduced to The Mask through the movie, and afterwards, I found out about the comic, and I loved it even more because it was so fucking violent and gory, and just a lot of fun stuff. And the eighth day, I'm going to be doing Eben Olsen. Excuse me. He is the main character of the original 30 Days of Night comic book. On the ninth day, I'm going to do Adrenalina from Origen Comics, another Puerto Rican comic book character. I have, I think the fifth issue recently came out, so I have to get in contact. I believe his name is Antonino Rosado, the creator of Adrenalina. So I believe it was a five-issue miniseries. I have issues one through four. Issue number five either already came out or is about to come out during either Manga Criolla or the Halloween Fest. Maybe he's gonna be there. I don't know. It might be in November. I'll check that out eventually, and I'll let you guys know too. I'm also going to be doing Invincible on the 10th day. Invincible was a character that I wasn't really reading when it first came out. Like a lot of the newer fans, I got into the comic because of the animation series on Amazon, which was yes fantastic. I haven't seen an American comic book or even like an American character done animation like that since maybe Spawn in the 90s when he had the HBO show. So that was just awesome. I really enjoyed it. I'm really enjoying reading the comic. I got volume one of the huge omnibus. And so, yeah, I'm checking that out. I'm really enjoying it. On the 11th day, I'm going to be doing Kick Ass. Kick Ass is another character that I warmed up to it after I saw the first movie. Because when I read the comic originally, because I'm a huge John Romita Jr. fan, I've always been he's one of the artists that got me into like the more mainstream comics of Marvel, of course, back then when I was younger. Storied career, legendary career. He and his father, John Romita Sr., are some of the most influential artists in comic book history. And I know a lot of people give a little grief to John Romita Jr. because they think his style is too square or too robotic. I like it. I really enjoy his artwork, even his run on DC, which many people didn't like much. I really enjoyed his run on Superman, his run on the three-part Black Label, Superman Year One with Frank Miller. Some people gave it grief, but I thought it was actually a great story. Probably one of the best stories that Frank Miller has written in recent times, anyway. And I don't know, I just really, really liked his artwork on Superman. Although I do prefer his work on All-Star Batman with Scott Snyder. Like that was amazing. Like that's probably the best run, or at least my favorite run of John Romita Jr. at DC was All-Star Batman with Scott Snyder. I mean, There's a scene with John Romita drawing Batman with a chainsaw. It doesn't get more metal than that. It's more metal than death metal later on with Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo. Another, oh, if I keep talking about artists, but anyway, I didn't like the comic book Kick-Ass as much, but when the movie came out, I watched it and I actually fell in love with the movie. It's one of those rare instances where I loved the movie more than the actual original comic. And of course, then Kick-Ass 2 came out, also live action. The director wasn't the same director anymore. I believe it's Matthew Vaughn, the name of the director. He also has directed the Golden Circle. No, no. Well, Golden Circle is the name of the sequel of Kingsman. He directed the Kingsman, which is another Mark Millar property, which I also really enjoyed. But Kick Ass, like that first movie, was lightning in a bottle to me. I absolutely loved it. And even though I didn't enjoy the second one as much, it would have been nice to have seen the trilogy end because they did kind of combine the original Hit Girl miniseries with Kick Ass 2. And they kind of combined both stories to do the live action movie sequel. But even though I've, I'm blanking out on her name. Grace Moretz. I know it's something like that. Chloe Grace Moretz, the girl that played the woman now that played Hit Girl. She would have loved to have seen the trilogy come to an end, but everyone has kind of moved on already into different roles and different stuff. Which is a shame. I would have liked to have at least seen the trilogy ended to kind of give an ending to that movie. But yeah, number 11 is going to be Kick Ass. I've only sketched him once, and that's why I also decided to do indie characters as well, because a lot of these characters I've either sketched once or never. So I wanted to like give myself that challenge too. And that the 12th character I'm going to draw is another character that's mostly from my childhood, like one of the indie things that made me so interested on indie comics because of just how bizarre it looked to me. Too Much Coffee Man. Those who know, those who grew up in that time usually know that character, enjoy that character, identifies with that character. So that's going to be a lot of fun to try and do. I'm also going to be doing Madman for the 13th day, another one of the classic indie characters from the 90s. At 14, Ghost from Dark Horse. She is really a visually interesting character to me. One of the characters that actually helped make Adam Hughes a big name eventually as well when he was first starting out in the 90s. So I'm looking forward to. I've never sketched Ghost before either, so that's going to be really fun to do. At 15th is going to be Witchblade. That's also another character I've never actually sketched, even though some of the most influential artists I've ever had has worked on it. Like, of course, Michael Turner. Like, he became a big name after Witchblade. Mark Silvestri created the character, so of course, Mark Silvestri, one of the big names that I just admire his artwork so much. From Wolverine to X-Men to Cyberforce, especially Cyberforce. I loved his Cyberforce. And of course, he created these other characters, Witchblade and the Darkness, which Mark Silvestri actually illustrated the Darkness as well in the beginning. So that's a lot of fun. Witchblade, another character that I absolutely love, but I've never sketched before, so that's gonna be interesting for me. The 16th character I'm going to do is another Puerto Rican character from Armando Drago Mendoza. It's going to be Wildfly. A while back, I did a quick sketch of Wildfly. Um, I like it. I liked it, I guess, but I feel like I could have done a little bit more on that sketch. So I really want to challenge myself to do like a much better um, sketch for Wildfly. I really enjoy the character. I enjoy the comic. I have the first two issues. Issue number three is going to come out soon, hopefully. So yeah, that's going to be something to look out for as well. That's the 17th character I'm going to draw is characters from Poison Elves, another comic from the 90s that the artwork to me was just stunning of Poison Elves back then. I'm trying to catch up on it again because I happen to get some of those comics again, and I just have to reread them too and kind of get into that universe as well. But I always enjoyed those characters. At 18th, I'm going to do Abby Chase of Danger Girl. Way back in the day, like when I was younger, I would sketch Abby Chase all of the time. She's really one of my favorite indie character. Danger Girl, one of my all-time favorite indie books. What can I say? A cheer for Danger Girl and J. Scott Campbell. Abby Chase, one of the first characters that I actually digitally colored when I first started to use the computer to color sketches and whatnot. So, and I haven't sketched her probably since then. So that would be a good kind of nostalgic thing for myself anyway. At 19th is going to be the 10th. I love horror and I love Tony Daniel art. So the 10th was almost like right up here with Spawn back in the day. To this day, I absolutely love Tony Daniel's art. I've had the honor and pleasure of actually talking with him at conventions at New York Comic Con. Hopefully, I'll be able to see him again this Comic Con. I believe he's going to be there. And the 10th is just, what can you say about the 10th? It's just an amazing, beautifully illustrated book. It has one of my all-time favorite comic book covers. I think it was issue 13. It was a Halloween cover, of course, where the two girls are dressed in Halloween costumes. There's black cats and there's pumpkin carvings. It was just a fantastic cover. I can't say enough good things about Tony Daniel. Again, like he's right up there with Todd McFarlane and Joe Quesada in terms of inspiring me to pursue comic books any which way I can make them. The 20th character, I'm going to be drawing the character in Berserker, the Keanu Reeves character. I haven't read the whole thing yet. I've read the first two issues. If I'm not mistaken, if the fifth issue came out not too long ago. So that's definitely going to be cool. I'm looking forward to that. Berserker, from what I've read, has been such a fun comic. Like it's been a long time since I've just read a comic that's just fun like that. At least like independently anyway, or even mainstream or independent. It's just a fun comic overall. And the 21st character is going to be the character from Noctera. Again, Scott Snyder, Tony Daniel. Scott Snyder, one of my all time favorite writers. Tony Daniels, one of my all time favorite artists. That's another comic that I've read the first issue, but I haven't kept up reading the other issues, mostly because of time constraints. But I absolutely love the designs in that comic book. By the time I reached that day, I should be done reading the entire first story arc, which already finished. It was 6 issues, I believe. So I'm actually really looking forward to that. 22nd is a character that's also from Puerto Rico. His name is Tokyo. Actually, I had the original comic back that came out in 2011. I would like to say 2012. I actually have a video here on YouTube, Manga Criolla, where I did a review of that comic because I actually interviewed the creator in that comic book activity, Manga Criolla, but the SD card on my camera malfunctioned. So like that entire segment got wiped out. So as an apology, I did an actual review of the comic back then. Instead, during that whole episode that I filmed of Manga Criolla, you can check it out if you wish. I'll probably leave a link in the comments below on Facebook and on YouTube, yes, so you guys can check that out. Dokyo, it's a much different version now. It's has more of a children's illustration kind of style compared to the original that was very manga and anime inspired. So I would definitely like to try my hand at that one. You can visit Saragoka Studios, which is the ones that produced that comic. Jonathan Kojaso, I believe, is the name of the creator. Excuse me. So go ahead and check that out. The 23rd character I'm going to be doing is Gardi El Guardian. Sorry about that. I'm in English mode, so my Spanish is going to be a little bit tongue tied when I switch from English to Spanish sometime. So Gardi El Guardian is going to be the 23rd character. I did one sketch of him a couple of years ago in a pop figure inspired sketch, which was a lot of fun to do. Gardi El Guardian is a comic book character that has existed for quite a long time in Puerto Rico, done by Black Fox Studios and coordination with Dama Rojo Studios. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to do a proper ink sketch for it. So I'm definitely going to be doing that. And on the 24th day, I'm going to do another Puerto Rican character that's pretty new called Aguaybana. And I'm going to be doing that character. The characters created by Marcelino Munoz is going to be a lot of fun. I did a different sketch of another character that he created, which was very cool to do. Um, Sorry, I'm getting messages. Okay, it kind of blanked me out on the name right now. I'm sorry about that. Crimson Knight, I believe it was, or it was. I'm so sorry, I blanked out on the name. It just got distracted. ADHD on HD. So I'm going to be doing Aguaybana, and after that, I'm going to be doing Fathom for the 25th character. Fathom again, Michael Turner, one of my all-time favorite artists. Gone way too soon. Rest in peace. Rest in peace, Michael Turner. I enjoyed his artwork so much on Top Cow and also on Aspen, and then the covers he would do for Marvel at DC, and some of the comics he would do for DC, like Superman, the redesign of Supergirl and whatnot. It was just such a fun time. His art was so fun to look at. I know there was a lot of detractors at the time as well, and it's fair criticism, the anatomy and whatnot, but it's just fun. His artwork was just so fun to look at and so inspiring, that, to each their own, but again, it's what makes me happy. His art made me happy, so I would like to try to do something fun as well. So Fathom is going to be the 25th character that I'm going to be drawing. At number 26 is going to be Alafta, the original character that Rigo Scorp Jimenez created back in the late 90s, early 2000s. Rigo, you can say he's kind of like my mentor when I started doing independent comics. I learned a lot of things from him, and to this day we still talk, we still exchange things, we still like go over stuff together. So it's pretty cool that we've been able to maintain that friendship and that camaraderie for well over 20 years now. One of the oldest friends I've had, and I really appreciate. Alafta, his original creation, I used to do quite a bit fan art of her, so it'll be fun to again, kind of like with Abby Chase. It's going to be a nice nostalgic thing because I really haven't done a laughter sketch in ages, really now. So that's going to be a lot of fun. The 27th character is going to be, I believe her name was Penny from F5, again from Tony Daniel. F5, for those who may not know, it was the name of his studio under Image, but it was also one of the team books that he had. F5 was an espionage kind of Impossible inspired kind of story. It came out not too long after Danger Girl, I believe, and I love F5 as much as I love Danger Girl for very different reasons because they're both spy espionage stuff, but the mood is so different for each of them. Like again, like Danger Girl was kind of the more campy, more funny, borderline cheesy kind of fun comic. F5 was a little more, um, things were more at stake there. It was a little more serious, and there was a lot more violence and, excuse me, action and death and whatnot in F5. So that was more like an action spy movie compared to Danger Girl, which was kind of like a action comedy spy movie, if you were to compare it like that. Um, at 28th, again, another Michael Turner inspired character, Soulfire. Soulfire, for those that might not know, is the last character that Michael Turner worked on before he passed away. I absolutely love her design. I love the fantasy design overall in that comic book. It's just a gorgeous book to look at, Soulfire. It really is. It's one of my all-time favorite books. Just the art alone and the coloring by Peter Steigerwald. I hope I'm pronouncing that well. It's just a fantastic, fantastic book to look at. The story is one of the better stories that Michael Turner worked on. Um, Not gonna lie, Fathom sometimes was a bit of a drag to read. Um, but again, it's so pretty to look at. Story wise, it's okay, I guess. But when you would go in for a Michael Turner comic in that sense, you usually would go in it for the art, unless it was like Witchblade, which had like David Wool and Christina Z doing the writing and whatnot. And then, of course, Michael Turner was much more involved in the writing for Fathom and also for Soulfire. But Soulfire was actually pretty good. I really was enjoying Soulfire while he was working on it. And at the 29th character I'm going to do is the character Ran from Project New Wave. I wanted to throw in also a character from Truthful Comics. So Ran is a character that I really haven't sketched. I have sketched the main character, or at least the leader of Project New Wave, Jason. I have sketched them a couple of times, so I thought I would choose a different character that I haven't drawn from Project New Wave from my friend and brother collaborator on Truthful Comics, Manuel Carmona. So Ran is going to be there at that Indie-tober. At 30th, I can't leave out Spawn, my man. I can't leave out Spawn, guys. It's the Todd father. The Todd father. Indie comics would be probably very, very different right now without Image. And for better or worse, Image Comics revolutionized independent comics and independent creators. Sorry, I almost said creators and comics at the same time. Comics. That's a nice word actually to use to describe indie creators, I guess, and indie comics. But anyway, Spawn, we all know the story. One of the first indie comics to sell over 1 million copies, the longest running indie comic ever in American comics history, is actually getting close to issue 325, and he's released King Spawn and Spawn Universe, and Gunslinger Spawn is going to come out next week, I think, and they're all on my subscription box at my local comic book shop, of course. I am a simp for no one except for Todd McFarlane. And you heard it here first. I am a simp for McFarlane Productions. And of course, the last character I'm going to do for Indietober and Inktober is my own Fred Peterson, the Mighty Warlord. Because I can't get enough of drawing him, because he is my baby. The webcomic is 15 years old, the webcomic, but I've been creating this motherfucker since I was in middle school. I have been carrying Warlord around since like 8th grade, and all the other characters that are involved in the comic as well. So I have to close out Indie Timber with Warlord and with Rand from Project New Wave at the 29th spot as well, because Truthful Comics is indie comics. So I have to throw that in there as well. Not so much for promotion, but because it's fun and it's our children in that sense. Like I was talking with other creators, and I was talking about how no one is going to care more for your property than yourself. And again, I am my own biggest fan and my own worst critic. So, not to be full of myself, I do want to put Warlord in there as well, because it is one of my best known creations, and because I just love those characters to death. I really do. Cheers to Truthful Comics. So yeah, that is going to be the list of characters that I'm going to do for Inktober slash Indietober, as well as Manuel Carmona is going to do as well. And hey, Armando, speaking of Armando Drago Mendoza, he had sent a message. So sorry, I saw it just now. Like, I'm not used to seeing the chat here on this thingamabob where I do the live streaming. Like I have to like keep in mind to keep that chat window open as well. But again, these are things that I'll keep learning as time goes by, and I keep having more experience doing these things. Like Armando himself told me that, as time goes by, we'll get better at these live streams and whatnot. And these live streams are just for fun. I just want to, like, as they say, shoot the shit with you guys, talk about comics, talk about what I'm going to be doing. If anyone, like I've said before, you all have an open invitation. If anyone wants to come in and plug their stuff, just tell me. I'll shoot you over a link so I can add you onto the live stream as well, so you can promote your stuff. And as you can probably see, I've been moving around stuff here too as well. I've been very busy, still unpacking and still organizing a lot of stuff in our new place. So there's been that as well. As you can see, The Office and Gun Parade March, those are things that are always going to be there. As you can probably see, yes, I was watching Adventure Time, which you can see on the TV there on pause. Adventure Time, I started watching it for the first time ever recently, and it's pretty cool. I'm halfway through season 5 right now, and it's surprisingly good. I know a lot of people told me in the beginning while it was actually coming on air that I should check it out because the style actually reminded them of my style and kind of my sense of humor as well. And I never really got it, at first. Like, I was like, yeah, I guess I'll check it out sometime. Like, one of the few times I guess I was a bit snobbish or something. I don't know. Or I guess at least at first it didn't grab my attention for one reason or another. And I finally started checking it out like about a month or two ago, and it's really fun. I'm really, really enjoying it more than I ever thought I was going to enjoy it. I really, really enjoy it. And actually, Armando Drago Mendoza actually was one of the people that recently told me to check it out, as well as other shows that I'll probably check out when I have the time as well. But yeah, Adventure Time is very cool. All right, now that we spoke about Indietober and Inktober and all that fun stuff, let's talk a little bit about Hell Beneath You. That is the comic that I'm going to be doing soon. I'm currently have been working on it throughout this week. I'm going old school with the 100 Days of Making Comics style that I did a few years ago. You can check the playlist over on my YouTube as well. I'll likely leave a link as well here and on YouTube if you guys are curious and want to check that out. I am going to try and do in 100 days, excuse me, do as much as possible with the comic. Contrary to other 100 days of making comics, where I would try to upload a video every day and I would try to, just finish projects I already had started, like Warlord or Exorcist or Nevermind. Like, I wanted to dedicate this whole 100 days of cataloging online these experiences with this one specific title, which is Hell Beneath You. And I'm almost done with this first week. Of course, it is Thursday. Well, no, actually Friday. Oh, well, I almost did a Dwight Schrute there and confused the days. Yeah, Adventure Time. Yeah, it's actually really oddly inspiring, Adventure Time. And again, thank you, Armando, for also like giving me that final push to finally watch it as well. It's been really fun to watch. So yeah, as well, see, I have the chat open. So I'm learning, I'm becoming less of a boomer and more my actual Gen Xer than I am. Of course I'm a Gen Xer. Look at my shirts. So I am working on this. Instead of doing it like 100 days of making comics, like I would upload to YouTube. Since I'm dedicating it more specifically about Hell Beneath You, I'm calling the series, instead of 100 Days of Making Comic, and just calling it the Long Road to Hell, just to kind of tie everything together. Like, actually, I can show you at least a couple of minutes of the what I'm working on. Maybe give you all like an exclusive preview. Let's do that. Like, of course, um, it's not like a finished thing. I'm literally working at it. I'm literally am editing it. So let me just kind of show you guys. Hmm. I don't know if there's audio that's going to come here. I didn't see like an audio kind of option. But as you can see here, I'm already working on it. I already have up until Wednesday here on iMovie. The other videos I have, like, are snippets that are still on the camera that I'm going to edit in eventually. It's been very fun to do. Let me see if it actually comes out with audio. I really don't know if it is. I'm kind of thinking it's not. Yeah, I'm just gonna stop it just in case. Because I didn't see like the whole. Yeah, I don't see like a share audio as well. So just in case, I'm going to leave it there later on when I rewatch the stream or something to make sure that the audio is good. I'll see if it has it. But either way, I'm going to upload it. I still don't know when I'm going to upload those episodes. Like, I was thinking like maybe putting it up weekly as soon as I finish it, like just uploading an episode on Sundays, which would of course chronicle that whole week of Monday through Sunday, working on that comic, and maybe some snippets on other comics that I'm working on. But going more specifically into Hell Beneath You. Another idea I had was just do those episodes in batches. So that way, like in 2 or 3 weeks, I can release an episode while I'm already working on episode 3 and 4, for example. I was just thinking of maybe just like, to hell with it, started on Halloween night. Upload episode 1 on Halloween night and go weekly from there, which is probably what I'm going to do. And it's actually more fitting to start it on Halloween night because it is a horror story after all. Very Stephen King influenced, as I mentioned in the video that I'm doing. Hopefully it's fun for people to look at. I'm actually having fun doing it, but then again, I'm borderline narcissistic, I guess. I don't know. Or just very passionate about what I love to do. But again, I guess it goes back to what I said earlier of being your own biggest fan and your own worst critic as well. You have to have fun with the stuff that you're doing, because if you're not having fun, who's going to have fun, with what you're working on? You just have to hopefully let that fun shine through on whatever you're working on, and hopefully people will enjoy it and have fun as well. Well, anyway, this random stream has gone on for almost an hour now, I believe. So I think I'm going to leave you guys on that kind of happy note of, doing things for fun and being your own biggest fan if you're going to be your own biggest critic. Because again, no one should be more hyped about your product than you. It's not like an egoist thing. It's not like having a big ego. It's having that confidence and having that fun, about that product that you're doing and putting out there. And even if it's just one person that's reading it and enjoying it, that's one more person that you're helping to get through whatever problems they're going through at the moment, and providing that distraction they may need at that moment as well. Like, I always had the belief that there's always going to be someone that's going to be reading your comic for the first time, and there's always going to be someone that's going to read your comic for the last time. So I try to do the best that I can within my own talents to make it as enjoyable as possible for the people that read it, and as fun as possible for myself to make it and continue to make it as well. Excuse me. So anyway, with those words of wisdom, I'm just going to keep working on the comic. I'm going to keep working on the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this live stream. Again, these are things that I do randomly. You never know when the next one is going to pop up. So, who knows if I'll even come back in later on tonight and do another like late night with Lance Danger at the witching hour or something. Like it is the spoopy season, so I may appear at the witching hour again. Anyway, thank you all for watching and stay safe.